you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. He is back. Teddy Covers joining us, and you're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy, a Monday with your boy and a Tuesday relaxing. I'm happy for you. You're ready. You're back. You're going. You're at it. You're excited. You missed me. Who's on the show today, bro?
Yeah. 10 rested and ready. NBA All-Star break. You got to take a little breather when you have the chance. That being said, the NBA All-Star break is just about done now. We'll see the association return tomorrow, and I'm sure we'll break down those games then. That being said, on today's show, Adam Trigger's going to lead us off. He's going to talk UConn and Providence, as well as Southern Miss and Old Dominion, a pair of college hoops battles for Wednesday night. Adam Trigger will break them down for us. Kevin Dolan's going to join us next. He's going to talk about some Europa League. Monaco versus Bayer Leverkusen, and some boxing on Sunday. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. That should be a fun fight to break down. Arthur DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook is going to join us to close out the show. And today, we're going to sit down with Art and talk futures, college basketball, NBA, college hoops, and maybe some MLB discussion as well, with those numbers starting to pop up. Arthur DiCesare as guest number 3. My big game breakdown. We're going to talk Auburn and Ole Miss. And of course, if we get 100 likes, Lawrence will do his presidential address at the end of the show. If we get there, there's this lineup. Let's get into it.
Yeah, Teddy, presidential address went well yesterday, and I tweeted out about half an hour before the Leaf game to take Ryan O'Reilly to score a goal plus 250. He got a hat trick. So we won that one as well. So, guys, if you're not following me on Twitter, at Prez WagerTalk. Also, people who haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so. It's greatly appreciated. And hit the like button. Make sure to comment on our videos. We do read them all. Teddy, let's bring Adam Trigger in right off the bat. Adam, love having you on, man. Welcome to Wager Talk Today. How are you? Well, really? That's interesting. No Adam is lacking the volume now. Come on, Ad.
He's pressing
you got
buttons.
This. No, Adam. Okay.
All right. He'll refresh.
Teddy, what did we learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
So, unfortunately, I learned something last night that I should have already known, and it made me mad. All right, I split out last night. I had a winner with Mississippi State, a game that took 15 years off my life and got there at the end. I had a loser with Baylor. I should have been 2-0 last night, but I didn't think the game through fully. First half bet versus full game bet. And in general, when I'm talking about a first half bet versus a full game bet, the scenario that I tend to look for in college basketball, double-digit favorites who I don't trust to maintain their intensity with a big lead. So I only want them for the first 20 minutes. And double-digit dogs who can hang around for a while, but you don't necessarily trust them for the full 40 minutes of action. So the bigger favorites / bigger dogs are something that I look for when it comes to first half wagers. But there's got to be a second one. First half wagers are for teams that collapse after halftime. And Baylor's coming off that complete collapse at Kansas. You know, again, they led by, 17 in the first half, and they got absolutely bombed in the second half of that ball game. They didn't have a double-digit lead last night. They only led by 8, but basically did the same exact thing. You know, made one good run before halftime, took a lead, cashed for first half bettors, second half the tip, and they basically got ran off the floor. Teams tell us who they are at this stage of the campaign, Prez. They really do. It's our job to pay attention and to make money off what they're telling us. Baylor in a hostile environment, that's a first half bet, not a full game bet, unfortunately. It cost me last night. I didn't think it through fully enough. Lawrence, that's what I learned last night. What about you?
Brother, I was on Baylor last night as well. I had them on the money line. They did not win for me. I had a bad college basketball night last night. I went 0-3 for my clients, which gutted me. I did win my 4% NHL play, but I will say this, and I'm not saying this as a sales pitch. I went back and looked, and no, Teddy, every time I had a bad hoops night, and I was like, oh God, my plus 100 unit season is in jeopardy. I'm going into a slump. Every time I have bounced back big. So crappy night last night. Excited for tonight. Really appreciate all the love I'm getting from you guys for the presidential address. I got picks for you on every game tonight. So make sure to give us 100 likes. Adam Trigger, is your microphone working?
I think it is. Are we good?
Yes,
good?
we are.
All right. Guys, I didn't have Baylor last night, but I did talk negatively about Kansas State on the college basketball show with Marco yesterday. And so I wore my Kansas State hoodie today for Kelly. I told her I would wear it. There it is. Because I said a bunch of negative things about Kansas State, how they were cooked, and they came out and won another big game. So here I am in my Wildcat purple and black today.
Okay, and you're wearing it for Kelly, just to make sure we understand.
I told her I would wear it on all the shows today, because she obviously went to Kansas State, had Kansas State. Guys, last night she tweeted that this is her favorite Kansas State team of all time. Like, I think Jacob Pullen and company would have something to say about that. Teddy, do you agree? Like, is that a little too early to say that?
So Kansas State has pulled off so many shockers this year and big games and big wins and tight wins. I don't blame her. And especially considering where they were expected to be. This was expected to be a team that was supposed to be completing for last place in the Big 12, not a team that's supposed to be in the top half of the standing. So I don't blame her for loving this team. Sometimes the teams, when you're a fan, the teams you love aren't necessarily the championship teams, the teams that overachieve. And this K-State team has been doing that all year long.
I have no opinion on that at all, except boo Kansas from last night. But this is my favorite Toronto Maple Leaf team of all time, just for the record.
It's early for that.
I know. But I got hope, Teddy. I got hope. Adam Trigger, let's go, brother. UConn -7 against Providence. How are you betting this game?
Teddy, I want to start off just with a quick couple general comments about this UConn team. This was the first future that I added to my sort of portfolio from the beginning of the season. On February 15th, I took UConn 30-1 to win the national title. If you can get anything close to that, I still think it's a very good bet. In general, they fit the profile of a team that would win the national championship. Their offensive and defensive efficiency numbers are both in the top 25, I think is kind of the cutoff where what we typically see from national championship teams. So I really like this UConn team going forward, and I think this is a good spot for them to get a win at home, guys. And I want to clarify, it's at Gamble Pavilion. I almost always add a point for UConn for home court when they're playing at Gamble as opposed to the XL Center. And guys, after going to the XL Center earlier this year, I totally understand why the kids go to the games at Gamble and not in downtown Hartford, which is an absolute mess to get to from campus. Tonight is at Gamble. It's $2 beer night. Prez, who doesn't love $2 beer night? The crowd should be rocking.
I don't.
Well, listen, the crowd's going to be great. The kids are going to come out. And I like what I saw from the first meeting. Providence won. UConn 5 of 22 shooting threes. They're a better shooting team than that, and even their numbers would suggest this year. So I know Teddy's going to come back and hit me with those Providence underdog ATS numbers, and I've got an answer for it. But UConn here, Providence 15-0 at home, 5-5 on the road. I like UConn at Gamble. Sonogo was sick over the weekend. I think he's probably feeling better, and I think he will be a big reason why UConn covers this number.
So Providence, for me, is a one-way team. I'm either betting on Providence or I'm not playing the game. This isn't 1 year. This isn't 2 years. This is an extended track record for Ed Cooley's team where their statistical profile doesn't fully reflect the capabilities of the squad. When you have a coach like Cooley, who's year in, year out, his teams overachieve to their statistical profile, does that concern you, especially given the aforementioned Providence track record as an underdog? So you have a consistently, perennially undervalued team that has been fantastic in this role both this year and in years past. You're like, this is the team I want to step in front of. Explain why.
So, Teddy, I like the spot for UConn. I think they cover the 7, but I'm going to give you a second bet or second way to bet this that maybe combats that a little bit. So, the stat here that you're going to see flying around probably on social media a bunch today is Ed Cooley career as an underdog against the spread 61%. That dates back to his Fairfield days when he was covering those numbers against my Siena Saints when I was in college there. He is a terrific coach. I love Ed Cooley. So I'm all about that. And I think you're right in a lot of, pretty much everything you said in terms of this Providence team. We don't even know the ceiling with this team because they are a very different team from the one that he had last year. And he's done it year after year, overachieved in almost every scenario. But on the road, Providence 5-5, they've fallen behind to every good team this year. That's also a fact. You can go look at, against the top half of the Big East. Providence goes behind early. So if you don't feel like you want to lay the 7 in the game because he maybe can get in the back door and cover that number, maybe consider UConn first half. Providence has gone behind early against just about every other good team in this conference. I wouldn't be surprised if they go behind early here. UConn has won 4 or 5. Their one loss was a close loss to Creighton in a game they could have won. So I think we're getting a UConn team that's going to continue to on the upward trajectory. I think they do get there, Teddy, and cover the number. But maybe the first half, if you don't want to lay that full game number, is a good bet as well.
Adam Trigger joining us, everyone. And I have a great idea, Adam. Why don't we put 20,000 20-year-olds in a room and serve them the devil's juice for $2? Tomorrow night, heroin shots, $1. Thursday night, cocaine, 50 cents. What the hell? Who does? Firstly, beer's the worst. Secondly, who came up with this stupid idea? Anyway.
Cheap beer?
Yeah.
Cheap beer.
Cheap beer attracting fans has been attracting fans as long as they've been doing stuff.
Yeah,
guys,
you know what
I was
else
at-
attracts basketball fans? Bosoms. Why don't they have an old bosom night?
I mean, that's
promote.
You're probably not going to get away with that on a college campus. Like, that's like that. I think beer is a nice. Everyone can agree. It's always a great time. I was at Youngstown State last week.
It's a terrible
$2
thing.
beer. It was $2 beer day. Prez, the beer line was never shorter than 30 minutes. So
Yeah,
I think this has been working for a long time. They're going to keep it going.
Yeah. Beer is revolting. I hate alcohol. It just, nothing goes well. Although my youngest daughter, Ty, is the best drunk ever. I will say that. Teddy, have I ever been around you when you were drunk? No, right?
Not, I mean, I've once a year, maybe take the under. I don't drink.
Yeah, I'm at once a decade. Yes, John Finley.
I have fun when I do drink,
night.
though.
Cleavage night. That makes a lot more sense. The men will show their butt cracks. It'll work out perfect. Okay, Southern Miss. They're playing Old Dominion tonight. I'm in play on this game. So I got my bet up. My clients have it as well. Where are you going with this, brother?
Well, Press, I hope we're on the same side here because I have a client playing this as well. I'm going to give it out on the show, and that's Southern Miss minus 125. So I've kind of dug into this Southern Miss team the last couple weeks. I will be at their next game on Friday night out in Texas. I'm going to Texas for the weekend to see a couple games with CT Bets, and I'll be at Southern Miss Texas State on Friday. Tonight, So because I kind of dug into this team, I do see them winning here. And the other reason I really like this spot for Southern Miss is a fate of Old Dominion, who could be without a couple key players tonight. So Ben Stanley did not play over the weekend for Old Dominion. It was a knee injury. So we don't know if he's coming back. He's listed as game time decision. But Chauncey Jenkins left the game. Old Dominion's win over Appalachian State. He's listed as a game time decision. So that could be a big blow for Old Dominion in this game. I also think the style of play really favors Southern Miss here. Old Dominion they don't move the ball particularly well, Prez. They're 346 nationally in assists. It's a lot of sort of one-on-one off the dribble for them. And Southern Miss should be able to pressure that and press them, turn them over, and get them playing a game that they don't necessarily want to play. Southern Miss guys, they're like a Kansas State. They're Kansas State 2.0. They were picked right at the bottom of this conference. Nothing was expected against this team, but they control their own destiny to win the Sun Belt in their first year in the league. They've improved incredibly rebounding the ball. They've picked up the defensive intensity, and what they lack in shot making, they make up for in the respect that they take good shots. It's been a tremendous coaching job there in their first year in the Sun Belt when nothing was expected from them. And I just think that right now, with the potential for Old Dominion to be banged up, the fact that Southern Miss can win this league if they win, they have the upper hand on Marshall going into this game. And all we need is them to win here. I love the spot for Southern Miss. So I laid the very short money line, minus 125, and I am on the Southern Miss Eagles for a 4% best bet.
So here's the question. All right. Southern Miss has been a moneymaker for everyone all year long. They're 7-2 against the spread their last 9. They continue to win games night in, night out. You're someone who hasn't ridden Southern Miss. They're a top 20 point spread team right now. And all of college boys, there are 363 teams. Southern Miss is top 20. If you haven't been riding the Golden Eagles at any point this season, is now the time to jump on them? Are they still offering value at this stage despite their tremendous point spread success already?
That's a great question, Teddy. Actually, I went against Southern Miss last week with Southern Alabama, and Southern Alabama won that game by 31 points. And I talked about maybe Southern Miss being a fade in these final couple games, but that's going to be trumped here by Old Dominion's potential roster concerns. Because I'll tell you, Teddy, if these guys get ruled out, then you're definitely getting value because Southern Miss will go off minus 3.5 in this game. And if they don't, I still think that the number, it already crossed 1, right? So we flipped this from -1 to, or +1 to -1. I think it'll stay the same, but the matchup is good enough here for me to want to jump in with Southern Miss. Will I probably go against them when I'm at the game on Friday? Yeah, most likely when they're on the road in the second half of a back-to-back. But here in this spot, with the potential for Old Dominion to be without not one but 2 of their key guys, and I'm pretty certain that at least Jenkins is probably out. Yeah, I'll go with Southern Miss in what's pretty much a must-win game if they want to take home the Sun Belt title.
Adam Trigger, awesome ad, nice, tight, excellent delivery, great hairdo, wonderful shirt, good age, just full of compliments, man. We should have a beer. I've never had a beer in my whole life. Not one single beer. I've had sips because, these guys are like, beer drinkers are like, oh, you hate beer, Prez? Have you tried this beer? What about this beer? Yeah. Teddy, you hear that nonsense? It's like people who hate scotch. Well, have you tried the scotch or that scotch? Okay, beer sucks. But I understand. Yes.
Did you really say you've never had not one beer in your whole life? You've had a sip of beer.
Well, yeah, because
you never at no point in high school or growing up with your friends, you were like, hey, drink a beer. None of that?
Yeah. Yeah. They hand me the beer and then I take the first sip. Then I puke my guts out because someone put actual shit in my mouth. And
so
I don't want that.
You've never actually drank a single beer in your life? Not one, like, let's get it.
In my entire life, I have never drunk a single beer. And not only that, But if you add up all the sips, it still doesn't make an entire beer. Anyway, Adam Trigger, what do you got to promote?
I'm playing college basketball tonight. 7-2 in my last 5% college basketball plays. We have a March Madness special that I have on my page. They're letting me put it up early, a couple days early, because I'm going to be going to all these games this weekend. So that you can get now. That price isn't going to change, though. That'll be the same as when it rolls out in a day or two. And I'll be adding others. Southern Miss play I gave for you for free. So go and check out my 5%. I may post others today. It's been a good college basketball season so far. There's still a lot of money to be made from now until they cut the nets down first week of April. So hop on board and yeah, if you're in Texas this weekend, Waco specifically, hit me and CT Bets up. We'll buy you a beer.
Adam Trigger, man, the guy's never at home, Teddy. It's unbelievable. Anyway, one of our listeners says, Prez, you look like a Scotch drinker. Okay, I do drink. Scotch is pretty close to the only thing I drink. I drink very, very top shelf Scotch. Teddy, you want me to show you tomorrow my Scotch collection? Yeah, I drink it.
I'm sure you have a Scotch collection because you don't actually drink it. You know, you might have a sip of Scotch once a year.
No.
In terms of you like sitting down and drinking a glass of Scotch, I'll take the under.
I do my edibles, and then I do have an actual sip of Scotch because it kicks it in, kicks it in. But I'm not why? Like, water is the way to go from my perspective, water or coffee. Speaking of coffee, Teddy, 90% of the world wakes up every morning and drinks a coffee. Irish people, well, they drink beer. Kevin Dolan, how are you, my friend?
I've had a few beers in my time now, I have to say. Look, I won't lie, I'm a bit tired today because I had to get up at 6 a.m. this morning. Wee one was a bit sick. It's now coming up to 3 a.m. the next day. So
wow.
I need to start mixing beer or coffee or something. I'm feeling this 24-hour shift. But yeah, all good apart from that, obviously.
So you got a little one in the house. How old now? A few weeks, right?
She's coming up to 4. A lot of work.
Beautiful. Lots of nachas. Enjoy her, my friend. But yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, Kev, there's no beer an Irishman has not felt attracted to, right?
First love.
Budweiser.
First love, Prez.
Yeah, Budweiser. That's a fair statement. I'm sure they laugh at Budweiser. Anyway, brother, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. You want to talk soccer? Europa League, Bayer Leverkusen versus Monaco. I cheer for Monaco. I don't even know one player on their team, but what a gorgeous city. How do we bet this game?
Yeah, well, we saw an absolutely fantastic leg one between these two teams last week. 5-goal thriller over in the Bay Arena in Germany. You know, Monaco took the lead early through an own goal. Leverkusen came back with 2 goals, looked steady late on. Then Monaco came back late, scored an injury time to get the winner. You know, Leverkusen crashed the ball off the bar. So that leg one had pretty much everything. So now we're going into leg 2. Obviously, it's a knockout round, so you know one of these teams is going out in this one, and you know Leverkusen will likely be buoyed a little here by the fact that Monaco are going to miss both of their preferred right backs for this game. So that's an area that obviously look to target in this one. But saying that, you know, Leverkusen have some real injury concerns of their own ahead of this one. Moussa Diaby is out with a groin injury here. He's been their top goal scorer this season, so that's a massive loss for them. And, you know, with that need to press for Leverkusen in this one, you know, they can't play to a draw, which is a knockout round. They need to push forward at some point in this game on Thursday, and that's going to create space at the back for this, you know, extremely clinical Monaco side to run into. You know, Monaco I should say. Monaco ranked just 1 goal behind PSG this year in total goals scored at home. They average a mammoth 2.5 goals per game this season at the Stade Louis II. Plus the fact Monaco are in some red hot form right now in general. 5 straight wins across all competitions. They beat PSG in this venue 3-1 2 weeks ago. And they're facing a Leverkusen team who they kind of look to be low on confidence right now. They missed a penalty against Mainz at the weekend. They're coming off back-to-back 3-2 losses. They've generated just one win over the last 5 games. So this is a tough ask for them to go to France and get a result here. So I like Monaco in this one, -0.25 goal. Finally put this tie to bed with a win and cover at home on Thursday against Leverkusen over in the Europa League.
Monaco, -0.25 goal. Kevin Dolan says it's a match they're likely to win. Let's talk about some boxing on, what is this, Saturday night, Sunday morning? Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Jake Paul and Tommy Fury, an 8-round battle. This one should be a whole lot of fun. I guess it's Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon here, local time. So bottom line, I'm seeing Jake Paul anywhere from -170 up to -180, -190 out there. You have him down at -125. I'm curious what the difference is. Were you able to get him early or as the market moved? Because I didn't see anything in the -125 range. Talk to me about Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Should be a fun fight on Sunday.
There's a few books over here in Europe, Teddy, William Hill among them. They're posting out Jake Paul -125. This line is really all over the place. It's not even listed at some of the books like DraftKings, FanDuel, and so on. So, shop
I'm
around.
seeing William
you will
Hill
get
right
that
now
price.
at -195.
In Europe now, I can only say that I bet this line at Europe earlier today, so it's still available at -125 over there. But yeah, look, whichever way you're going to bet this, I like Jake Paul in this fight. Obviously not the strongest weekend in boxing we've ever seen. But yeah, look, it's going to bring a lot of eyeballs. People are interested in this fight, and it's a big weekend for Jake Paul in this one as well. Mauricio Suleiman in the WBC said he'll put Jake Paul straight into the rankings should he get the victory on Sunday, potentially line him up for there's some real killers in this cruiserweight division. Jay Opataya, Lawrence Okoli, and even former undisputed champion at this weight class, Maris Briedis. He was so desperate for the Jake Paul fight, he actually got a tattoo of Jake Paul on his arm to tempt him in. So, there's plenty of options out there for Jake Paul right now after this fight. Should he win, first of all, and should he want to get serious in the sport of boxing? But in terms of this one, he's fighting a guy in Tommy Fury who, definitely has the name recognition. He's being Tyson Fury's half-brother, obviously, but, very little apart from that. Tommy Fury's combined opponent record over his 8 fights so far come in an absolutely embarrassing 24 and 176. And half of his 8 opponents have never even had a professional win in their boxing career so far. So to say Jake Paul is finally facing a boxer is a bit of a ludicrous statement. Tommy Fury's fought absolutely nobody over his career so far. He spent more time filming Love Island over in the UK than he has fighting professionally. And, while Jake Paul perhaps does need to be careful about potentially stepping in too far with boxing, he can't get too carried away, obviously, by beating faded MMA stars and YouTubers. He can actually box. He's got good foot movement. He's got a great overhand right. He's got a decent uppercut as well. One of the reasons I would fear for him against like a proper opponent, is that propensity is to dip too low in fights, against the fighter who knows what they're doing in there. Canelo, for instance, a guy he's continuously called out over recent years. You would expect Canelo to decapitate him in there. But, plenty for Jake Paul to work on, obviously, moving forward. But thankfully for Jake, Tommy Fury's about as far from Canelo as I am from Conor McGregor, to be honest. So I'd be surprised if Jake Paul loses this fight, to be honest. Tommy Fury's clearly a hand-picked opponent at the end of the day. He's chosen because of that name recognition that he brings. And as I said, shop around. I got it at -125. Now, whether the Europe's hanging out cheaper numbers. But I like Jake Paul in this fight to win straight up. And I'm happy enough taking that price, or even anything up to -170 actually over in Riyadh this weekend.
Fight is billed as the truth. What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what truth we're going to find out about this because, even when I posted in about this, what we're going to cover on today's show, I put boxing and hyphenated quotes. Obviously, I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to the sport. But look, I'll be tuned into this fight, no question, because I'll be interested to see how far Jake Paul can go in this one. But I'm really not sold on. I think everyone get confused as Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury, worlds apart.
Not the same guy. Kev, what's your favorite beer? Is it Guinness like everyone else in your country?
No, I actually like Smithwick's. Do you guys get Smithwick's out in the US? I think you do.
Of course.
I love Smithwick's.
Everyone likes a good Smithwick.
Can't beat Smithwick's.
Yeah, it's very unbeatable. Kevin Dolan, everyone, what do you got to promote?
We got a 5% Europa League play up for tomorrow. Prez 22-9 running soccer right now over last 31, so pretty happy with that. And we got a special discount offer up right now as well to get the rest of my NBA season for $150 off. It's over on the deals page right now using code HOOPS150. And, you know, NBA has probably been the best sport for me across multiple seasons. 254, 186, and 5 record. Our last 445 NBA straight bets. That's 58% across multiple years. So obviously pretty happy with that. Plus 143.58 units. Number one in total profit since joining WagerTalk all the way back in October 2018. So obviously looking to continue that run over the back half of the season as well.
Awesome stuff, Kev. Anyway, I know it's 3 a.m. Go have a Smittick and get yourself to bed. Teddy Covers, you got a hard stop, bro?
No, the hard stop days are over now.
Dan, cue up the video. Commercial break, Teddy's big game breakdown, the sexy Art DiCesare, and if we get to 100 likes, the daily presidential address.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. This is a service play for me tonight, a client play. Auburn and Ole Miss. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. Auburn's been bet up. They were 12.5 earlier. It's mostly minus 13s now. Total, let's call it 136.5 against Ole Miss. And look, this is a Rebels team. They started the season 7-2. 5 of those 7 wins came in games where they were double-digit favorites. All right. Since that 7-2 start, with 5 of those wins coming against bottom feeders, they were double-digit favorites. Ole Miss is 3-14 straight up. And their 3 wins during this 18-game collapse, well, they didn't even cover the spread. Push it home against a down Temple team and wins against South Carolina and Georgia, 2 of the worst teams in the SEC. Florida was struggling when they faced Ole Miss last week. And, they blew them out. And then the Rebels gave everything they had. Last weekend at home, Mississippi State, chance to upset their in-state rivals. And what happened? They blow a late lead. They give up a banked corner 3-pointer in overtime, and they end up losing by 8. I don't know if the Ole Miss has much left in the tank. A bad team struggling, coming off an agonizing loss, going on the road. And they're facing an Auburn team that's in a pretty grumpy mood right now. Auburn hasn't been played well. Bruce Pearl's team, they've lost 4 of their last 5, 6 out of 8. Now, we look at the W's during that span. At home against lesser foes. They blow out Missouri at -7. They blow out Georgia at -12.5. The 2 wins prior. They blow out South Carolina by 15. They blow out LSU by 18. When they're winning, they're running lesser teams out of the gym. This is their chance to do that at home against Ole Miss. I expect Bruce Pearl's team to win this one comfortably. Off that 2-point loss at Vandy, excruciating 2-point loss at Vandy over the weekend. This is their get-right spot at home against a team you can get right against. Lay it or don't play it. Give me Auburn -13. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy Covers, let's bring him in right now. Art DiCesare, we missed you last week, bro. You took some time off. I hope it did you well. Welcome back.
Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to be back with you.
Well, I'm going to hand this segment over to Teddy. He's going to talk futures with you. I'm going to kick back, watch TikTok. I'm addicted, and have a beer.
And that didn't take long. I was thinking maybe Lawrence could come up with one question to start the conversation rolling. No, it's just like, you guys handle it. Let the grown-ups handle it, Lawrence. You go enjoy your TikTok.
Exactly.
Arthur DiCesare. The first thing I want to ask you about is just to put a cap on it. Super Bowl. How'd you guys turn out? Everything turn out good? Everything turn out bad? Did you make a bunch of money? How were the props? How was the side? How was the total? How were the parlay, the ties lose parlay cards? Talk to me and give us a final thought on the Super Bowl.
Sure, Teddy. Just to wrap up the Super Bowl, Chiefs winning was great for us. Obviously, the overhitting not as great, but if it would have been Eagles and over, would have been a loser for us. So Chiefs coming out on top despite the game going over ended up being a winner for us. Props. Yeah, I think a lot of the times with the props, I know in the short time I've been able to be in this business and see this, sometimes if you break even or even lose a little bit on the props, it's okay. So we were kind of in that ballpark as far as the props go, especially when you're dealing almost 500 props. That type of success is actually success, even if you just lose a little bit. But I think overall, as far as the Super Bowl goes, it was a winning day for us and a positive day. And, as much as we love football, and I love football just as much as everyone, sometimes it's nice when the season's over and we can look to other things.
How was the handle? Did you guys get as much action as you were hoping to get? Did you get more? Did you get less? Handle versus hold. How did you guys work out in that regard?
Yeah, our handle and hold were pretty good. I saw a ton of reports around town. Handle was down, hold was down, all that. I can only speak for what we do at the Superbook at, the Westgate, and our handle and hold was pretty good.
At Art Dice 21 on Twitter, he is an excellent follow. I recommend him without hesitation. Art, you texted me yesterday. You're like, let's talk some futures. I'm like, what a great idea. But you left out the one that I wanted to talk about the most because obviously we haven't talked any baseball on the show.
Oh,
Do you have baseball numbers up yet? And if so, who's getting the first action when it comes to the MLB future market?
Absolutely, we do. Now, as far as the futures go, we've had World Series and those things up for a while. Obviously, we started to put up all of our, futures: home run title, Cy Young, MVP, most pitching wins, least wins for Major League Baseball teams, most wins. Obviously, our over-unders are out. Divisions, over-unders are always the thing that you see a lot of people come in, the sharps come in and really start to, put their mark on the totals. A couple of over-unders just to throw out there. I'll give you one in each league. In the National League, we've seen a lot of love come in for the Braves early. We had Braves 93.5. We're now sitting at 94.5. So some love's coming over there for the Braves over win total. And a team that surprised last year in the American League, the Orioles. Obviously, they were a really nice story. They were in it to the end, almost made the playoffs. And people have been taking their under win total. So, we were as high as 79.5. We've now only creeped down to 79, but you've seen the under money come in on the Orioles. And I don't think that's surprising. I think the public might come in and bet them, but the sharper guys are going to take the Orioles on the under.
Early money on the Braves over and the Orioles under their respective win totals when it comes to the MLB season win total betting marketplace. Art DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook right here in fabulous, sunny, freezing cold Las Vegas. Yeah, it's cold out there today. Again, Art, let's talk some futures for the three sports we have going on. College basketball. Let's start there. Because certainly when it comes to college hoops, I've been getting this same comment from everybody when we talk about college hoops and who's going to win it all. It's like, if ever there was a wide open year, this is that year. There's no favorite. There's no co-favorite. It feels like there's 15 teams that are alive to win the national title. Talk to me about where the sharp money's coming. College basketball.
I absolutely agree with that, Teddy. I think it is a wide open field. The college basketball future market, it's usually dominated by the blue bloods. Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, those type of teams are the teams you always see a lot of action on. And usually, if those teams can get to the title, win the title, you're going to be a loser on those type of teams. It's usually the way it works. This year, not so much. Kentucky and Duke and North Carolina might have to fight to get into the tournament. No guarantee. Kansas will be there. We understand that. Two that actually jump out that we're actually pretty big losers on that are not traditional blue bloods. TCU, who we opened at 80-1, who are now 30-1. We'd be a pretty significant loser on them. And Miami, who had a really nice win last night on the road against Virginia Tech. We opened the University of Miami 200-1, now 25-1. So those are two that are a little bit more off the radar, but if you're a college basketball fan, you recognize how good those two teams are. So, but the top teams like Purdue and Houston and things of that nature, we're not losers on them. Even Kansas, who looks like they're a team who can make another Final Four championship run this year. TCU and Miami are the big ones.
So, and just one follow-up on that. If you're going to have liability for the NCAA futures, TCU and Miami are okay teams to have liability on. Are they? I mean, neither one of those teams is actually going to cut down the nets, are they?
I'm with you, Teddy. I think when you just look at it, you go down and you're like, okay. Now listen, let me just say, North Carolina out of the Blue Bloods, they'd be a huge loser for. That was a team who was preseason number 1. Now they're sitting at like 60-1. People continue to bet North Carolina because of the run they went on last year and all that type of stuff. I don't know if North Carolina wins a game in this tournament if they get in. So, but I'm with you. Yes, if your liability in futures could be TCU and Miami for basketball, TCU made a run in football, and University of Miami's had plenty of runs in football in their day. Yeah, that's a good position to be in. I'm with you.
And even if it was college football, I don't think you'd mind that much if all your action was on TCU and Miami, if those were your liability teams. Let's shift focus to the NBA. I know Lawrence wants to ask about NHL, so we've got just a few minutes left here with Arthur DiCesare from the Westgate Superbook right here in Las Vegas. And Art, when it comes to the NBA, did the trading deadline shake any odds? Because it feels like, certainly in the West, things changed significantly. Phoenix is a popular team. What happened to the odds on Dallas? And who have been the bigger movers in the future betting marketplace in the NBA since the trade deadline?
Yeah, for us, Teddy, when we look at the futures, it's all in the West for us. We're a loser on the Warriors. Warriors are currently 18-1. So there's no surprise there. People thinking maybe they can go back to back. They've been a very popular team. Lakers were always a loser on the Lakers. They were as high as 200-1. Now 30-1. Obviously, they've made some moves, playing a lot better. LeBron with all the quotes, these are the most important 25 games of my career, blah, blah, blah. So as far as the West go, and even Denver, we'd be a slight loser on Denver, but it wouldn't be anything crazy. Yes, the Suns became very popular after the trade, so their odds got sliced and diced. So we won't really get hit that bad on the Suns because there wasn't a lot going in on the Suns anyway, and we were able to cut their odds. So right now for us, we want to avoid Lakers and Warriors.
Art DiCesare joining us. Art, awesome stuff. We're going to talk some NHL, but first I have a question for you from Schmidt Happens. What does a career path look like in the sportsbook industry? Is a ticket writer typically the first job?
That's a great question, Schmidt. You're looking at one. I was a ticket writer. We all start there. It's just the way it is. Unless your dad or mom or uncle or someone is high up in a sports book, maybe you can get in the back first and do some admin work or something like that. But 99% of us start as ticket writers. My boss, Jay Cornegie, was a ticket writer. John Murray, my director, was a ticket writer. So yes, if that's the place to start.
Teddy?
And my first year in Vegas, I was having some cash flow issues. I talked to my friend, I'm like, hey, I don't want to be in this place. He's like, just go write tickets. Be a ticket writer. You'll meet everyone. You'll solve the cash flow problems in theory. And I didn't end up doing it. Everything worked out fine in the long term. But it's certainly, if you're going to get into this business, there's way worse ways to do it than being a ticket writer. Like, that's your first gig. It's a smart first gig to have. You learn a lot working inside a sports book.
All right, let's talk NHL. Let's get straight to the Stanley Cup odds. I mean, Boston Bruins, who are lighting it up this year, are plus 450 at some of the. I mean, these future bets are all over the map, but They are by far the shortest odds. I bet they don't win the Stanley Cup. I'd like that bet. Are any of those bets possible?
I have seen those. We don't offer them, but I'm with you, Prez. I really hope Boston is not a winner because Boston would be a loser for us. We're sitting Boston 4-1 to win the cup. We open them 40-1. And
Wow.
that's that starts
Wow.
trickling down as the season goes, right? 35-1, 30, 25, 20, and now we're sitting at 4. So our liability on Boston is really bad. We would like to see Boston knocked out at some point. When you go to the West, the Oilers, very popular. Obviously, they got over the hump, last year where they won a couple of games, got to the conference finals, or won a couple of series. They were 25-1, now sitting 14-1. The West, as you know, Prez, is as wide open as it can be. So for us in the West, it would be the Oilers. One team I do want to mention, though, is the Carolina Hurricanes. It's funny, if the Bruins win the East, we actually win on them winning the East, but we just get clobbered in the Stanley Cup future book. But if the Canes win the East, we get clobbered there. And then if they win the Cup, we get clobbered. So their combination of winning the East and winning the Cup would be really bad for us.
Yeah, Art, listen, it's funny you mentioned the Edmonton Oilers. You can get them as high as plus 1,700 at some books. You have them at plus 1,400. I think that's the best bet out there from a futures perspective. I don't make these future bets on a regular basis, but I think you have a situation where Toronto, the Rangers, Carolina, Tampa Bay, and Boston, those are arguably the top teams in the entire league, and they all find themselves in the exact same conference. They are going to beat the shit out of each other by the time it all begins. And Edmonton they're going to make a big move at the trade deadline. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up Erik Karlsson. Their odds are going to drop below 10-1 when all's said and done. Take that to the bank. If you're going to bet the Oilers, I would bet them now. I think that's a good bet. Art, promote and say goodbye, my brother.
I'm with you, Press. That's really interesting thought on the Oilers. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to be back with you. Obviously, we missed last week, but as always, I know people think this is the slow time, but it's not. We got conference tournaments coming up. Obviously, March Madness is going to be right around the corner. NHL, NBA rolling, and we'll have baseball soon. And if anyone ever needs any help, come down to the Westgate, getting set up with the app. Seats, drink tickets, anything you guys need, you come down. You ask for Arthur DiCesare, and I'll be more than happy to help you with whatever you need.
Awesome stuff. Art DiCesare, everyone. Lucky to have him. You can follow him on Twitter at ArtDice21. Teddy, we got 120 something likes. They are demanding it. They are requiring it. It is mandatory. The Daily Presidential Address. All right, everybody. If you're not following me on Twitter, make sure to do so at Prez WagerTalk. Last night, half an hour before game time, I gave out Ryan O'Reilly to score a goal, plus 250. We won that literally 3 minutes into the game. I have a couple of bets for you tonight in the NHL. Before we get into that, I want to make mention that I have a big NHL bet up for tonight. Last night, we had a big bet as well. We took the Toronto Maple Leafs on the money line, took our money line run to 11-1 in the NHL. I've got a 4% total tonight. I'm on a 34-12 run in these plays. I also have 3 basketball plays. I'm up 40 units of profit this college basketball season. You can find all 4 of those plays over at WagerTalk.com. As for your free bets tonight, look, I'm only going to give out 2. I said I was going to talk about all the games, but I'm not. I'm only going to give out 2, and I'm telling you flat out, I am betting both these plays, and I like them a lot. I like the New York Islanders tonight at minus 110 against the Winnipeg Jets. Tough spot for Winnipeg. I know they're coming off of a big win against the Rangers, and before that, they lost a couple. But that Ranger win, they were outshot by 30 goals. Yes, 30 shots. Yes, They won the game 4-1. They put up 21 shots. They allowed 51. I think the Islanders get it done. I think the Islanders are a bet on team moving forward. And guys, my favorite play from this video is Calgary in regulation. You can get them around minus 135. They're playing Arizona. So they Calgary in regulation and the New York Islanders and a small parlay on Calgary and Dallas on the money line. Teddy, it is Shawarma Wednesday. Take us home, my brother.
Shoot, that's going to wrap it up for the Wednesday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, you guys know what to do. Enjoy the games, and best of luck with all your wagers.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at WagerTalk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at WagerTalk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to WagerTalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.